Hello, and welcome to this video presented to you by the City of St. Catharines Planning Department. My name is Taya Devlin, and I am a planner with the city. The purpose of this video is to outline the city's proposed zoning bylaw amendment addressing short-term rental use, as well as amendments to existing provisions regarding home-based businesses and bed and breakfasts. Short-term rentals are dwelling units offered for rent for less than 28 consecutive days. In recent years, the introduction of online platforms such as Airbnb, VRBO, Flipkey, and many others has made it easier for residents to offer their entire dwelling unit for short-term rental. With a short-term rental, the resident is not present in the home while it is rented to guests. The city's zoning bylaw does not currently permit short-term rentals in residential zones. There are other uses that offer rental accommodations for less than 28 consecutive days. Hotel-motel use offers accommodations as a primary use. Hotel-motel use is permitted in certain commercial, mixed-use, and employment zones. Bed and breakfasts are similar to short-term rentals in that they offer accommodation for less than 28 consecutive days within a dwelling unit. However, unlike short-term rentals, bed and breakfast is limited to rental of rooms in a dwelling, and the owner or operator is present on site. Bed and breakfasts are currently permitted within a detached dwelling as a home-based business. Short-term rentals have become more prominent within our community, and as a result of considering a municipal accommodation tax in June 2019, Council directed staff to review short-term rentals in the city. Staff conducted research and obtained input from the public from November 2019 to January 2020. A staff report summarizing the research and input received from the public was provided to Council on February 24, 2020. And at that meeting, Council directed that staff proceed with a zoning bylaw amendment. What is a zoning bylaw amendment? The city's zoning bylaw sets out the permitted land uses and provisions for how all lands within the city may be used. A zoning bylaw amendment is a process to propose changes to those existing provisions. The city's zoning bylaw currently includes provisions for hotel-motel use as well as bed and breakfasts, and does not currently permit short-term rentals within a residential zone. The proposed zoning bylaw amendment seeks to make changes to the bylaw to introduce short-term rental use and proposes revisions to the existing provisions for home-based businesses and bed and breakfasts. Staff have identified 5 goals for the city to prioritize when considering any regulation of short-term rental accommodations. Those goals are to protect housing supply, support opportunities for supplementary income, have regulations that are reasonable to enforce, protect residential neighborhood character, and support tourism and tourist spending in the city. More information regarding these goals can be found in the February 24th report to Council. As part of a zoning bylaw amendment, the Planning Act sets out requirements for providing notice and facilitating public engagement. An open house is a forum of public engagement that takes place before a public meeting and prior to Council making a decision regarding a proposed zoning bylaw amendment. For the health and safety of our citizens and staff while remaining accessible, this open house is being hosted digitally due to COVID-19. At this time, no decisions are being made, and this video intends to provide an overview of the proposed amendments to the zoning bylaw. All questions and comments received will be considered by staff and included in staff's recommendation report, which is anticipated to go before Council in November. Separate notice will be issued prior to the public meeting. We are looking to residents and those interested in short-term rentals for feedback and input before bringing the proposed changes to Council for a decision. The zoning bylaw amendment proposes to introduce short-term rental use as a home-based business. This is intended to provide residents the opportunity to rent out their entire dwelling unit when they are away short-term, but they may only offer the unit they reside in, which would be considered their primary residence. The amendment also proposes to establish a parking requirement of 0.5 spaces per bedroom and permit short-term rental in any dwelling unit. Defining short-term rentals as a home-based business means the dwelling is primarily used as a residence and not solely operated as a short-term rental. Residents would be permitted to offer their dwelling unit for short-term rental as a secondary use to its primary function as their principal residence. Offering a dwelling unit for short-term rental as the primary use of the dwelling, where the dwelling does not serve as anyone's principal residence, would be considered a hotel-motel use and would only be permitted in zones that permit hotel-motel. Currently, home-based businesses are permitted in principal dwelling units, which are limited to detached, semi-detached, and townhouses. The zoning bylaw amendment also proposes to allow a home-based business in any dwelling unit, which would permit duplex, triplex, fourplex, quadruplex, apartment, and accessory dwelling units, in addition to the existing permitted dwelling types. The amendment also proposes to expand the dwelling types that can operate a bed and breakfast from just detached dwellings to any dwelling unit. What's next? Following the online open house, staff will compile public input and deliver a recommendation to City Council. City Council will hold a public meeting allowing for resident input scheduled for November 16th. At that meeting, Council will vote to make a decision regarding the proposed zoning bylaw amendment, and following a decision by Council, there will be a 20-day appeal period for individuals to file an appeal to the local planning appeal tribunal. Staff are preparing to introduce several options for licensing of short-term rentals for Council to review. The intent will be to further assist with enforcing the regulations for short-term rental use. Following a decision on the zoning bylaw amendment, staff will proceed to establish a licensing bylaw for short-term rentals. The commenting period for the open house will remain active from September 16th to October 16th. More information regarding short-term rentals, including background reports and supporting documents, can be found at engagestc.ca/short-term rental. You can also subscribe to the Engage page to receive updates on new materials such as the future staff report and upcoming meeting dates. If you have comments or questions, you can submit them through the Engage page and staff will reply, or you can email me directly at shorttermrental@stcatharines.ca. Please be sure to provide your comments and questions for staff consideration and stay up to date by subscribing through the Engage page. Thank you for your time and attention.